Early on, we referred to Aang as Wind Boy and Buddha Boy. After that, we called him the Keystone Being because he was supposed to be the key to restoring balance to the world. Then, in our research, we came across the Hindu word avatar, which means the manifestation of a deity in human form, or a variant phase or version in a continuing entity. In the series Bible, we wrote that the avatar is the incarnation of the spirit of the planet in human form, though we later dropped that idea for the series. This decision may have quietly ruined the world of Avatar, from the Avatar state to the role of spirits and even bending itself. Let me explain why. I was a fan of Avatar since the very first episode. I remember watching the premiere on Nickelodeon, sitting on the carpet in front of my living room TV when I was 6 years old, falling in love with the world and the characters. And when Book 3 ended, I was obsessed with the idea that we might one day do a sequel series. The whole show was about the hero being reborn over and over again throughout history. There were countless stories that could be told in this world, exploring various different eras of this rich mythos, absolutely ripe for exploration. 10 years later, the final episode of The Legend of Korra wrapped up, and I was left far less excited. In that time, something happened to Aang that totally cheapened his character, and Korra too. The Avatar series didn't feel as magical as it used to, and I'm not just talking about nostalgia. Something big changed behind the scenes, something so fundamental that it not only doomed Korra to stumble where the original series could fly, but it even retroactively made Aang a worse character. You know, probably. Because the only way to know for sure would be to use an illegal streaming website and pirate the full film for free on your ultra-wide gaming monitor in perfect 4K HD. And none of us here would dare do something so vile. Right? My point is that there was an idea at the center of the original series that was never explicitly stated, but was quietly abandoned and has haunted the narrative ever since. The Avatar is no longer the spirit of the Earth. Now, what exactly does this mean? When the series was in its developmental stages, creators Brian Konietzko and Mike DiMartino defined the Avatar in their series Bible as the incarnation of the planet in human form, a fitting explanation for why the Avatar alone could bend all four elements, why they were the bridge between the human and spirit worlds, and why they were so overwhelmingly powerful. Of course, now that we've learned the origin of the Avatar from Korra, we know that this is not the case. Instead, the Avatar began as a human, Wan, who disrupted a stalemate between two eternal spirits, Rava, who represents light and peace, and Vatu, the embodiment of darkness and chaos. To atone, Wan traveled with Rava, receiving the power of bending from the four great lion turtles, and eventually absorbing cosmic energy during harmonic convergence to fuse with Rava, becoming an endless being who can bend all four elements and carries the spirit of light within himself, reincarnating endlessly to maintain peace between humans and spirits. And while I thought this was pretty cool when I first saw it, as I'd always wondered about the first Avatar, here's the thing. It's awful. This is a terrible origin for the concept and a significant downgrade from the original idea that the Avatar was the living Earth as a human being. First, it ruined bending. As the spirit of the Earth come to life, it would only make sense that the Avatar would be the greatest, most powerful bender of their era, across all time. Because bending was defined in the original series as a physical and spiritual art form, your skill and strength were entirely determined by how well you could mentally and emotionally embody the element. It wasn't just about moving your body the right way. Earthbending required Aang to learn a stubborn, headstrong mindset. Zuko completely loses his firebending when he cannot grasp the source of its energy. If the Avatar is the spirit of the Earth, they are the wind, the tides, the crust, and the burning mantle of the planet. They have the greatest potential to connect to the four elements because they are the four elements. The Avatar's incredible strength was implicit and synergized perfectly with the lore and power system of the world. But by removing this origin, the writers had a problem on their hands. Why was the Avatar so much stronger than everybody else, actually? Why was Aang the youngest airbender master in history? Why was Kyoshi able to bend an entire island into the ocean? Their solution was to give the Avatar a surface-level power boost. By fusing them with Rava, they simply have more spirit energy, which we see in Book 4 of Korra is practically analogous with nuclear energy. The Avatar was the strongest bender in the world, no longer because bending is a spiritual art that requires wisdom and understanding, but because they have access to a simple power-up nobody else does. Which leads us into the next casualty of this change, the Avatar state.
The Avatar state is a defense mechanism designed to empower you with the skills and knowledge of all the past avatars. The glow is the combination of all your past lives, focusing their energy through your body.
In the original series, the Avatar state was described as the collective wills of all previous avatars possessing the body of the current avatar during times of great stress to keep them alive and protect them from harm. When entering into the Avatar state, Aang was hijacked, his will suppressed by a terrifying and awe-inspiring chorus of ancient masters. The glow, as Avatar Roku described, was the combination of all your past lives, focusing their energy through your body. Millennia of bending knowledge and mastery all instilled into the current avatar, or thousands of previous avatars who were able to explore and understand their intrinsic connection to the world and achieve impossible feats of bending because of it. To master the avatar state was to tap into this wisdom while maintaining control, the mark of a fully realized avatar. And it carried an incredible weight. One day, all of Aang's wisdom, knowledge, and skill would be passed on to the next avatar, making her even more wise and powerful. It's such a cool and fun mechanic to utilize and explore in this fantasy world. This is extremely compelling stuff, but it was all retconned away. Now, the glow is not the energy or wisdom of previous avatars, it's just Rava offering a power boost. This unique transformation was reduced from its thematically resonant stature down to a budget Super Saiyan. And it's obvious that the writers treated it with far less respect because of it. When Aang entered the Avatar state in the original series, he did not lose, ever. The only instance where this sort of happened was when he was sniped by Azula, and this was while he was in the middle of mastering the form, in the process of letting go of all earthly attachment. He was spawn-camped. Even a comet-powered Ozai was running in fear from Aang in the Avatar state. It was no contest. But in Korra, she loses all the time while in the Avatar state, including to some nameless dark spirit, and this is before she lost all of her past lives. The form has lost all of its special sauce, and because of that, the writers stopped treating it with the same reverence. Even Aang isn't safe in the modern material. He loses a bunch of fights while using the Avatar state in the new movie. We could assume that he loses a bunch of fights, if it was out yet. Anyway, this change had awful trickle-down effects on the rest of the series. If the Avatar's power didn't come from wisdom and spiritual understanding of elements, no one else's bending prowess would either. Take Bolin. He unlocks lava bending at the last second before he's splashed with a wave of lava, purely because it's dramatic for him to do so. He discovers this power after trying and failing to metal bend for an entire season, but he never actually learns anything about Earth in the process. Exactly the opposite of when Toph discovered metal bending. It was shown that her deep understanding of feeling the Earth through seismic sense allowed her to recognize the impurities in metal and bend those. This new art was invented based on her strong understanding of the principles of earthbending. With Bolin, there is no philosophical deepening of his understanding. It's never explained to us how he turns Earth into lava. Is it imbuing the stone with the beauty and life a firebender uses to generate flames? Maybe. They never go into it, and he certainly never expresses having learned anything like that. All we're led to believe is that he can only do it because one of his parents was a firebender, meaning bending is now no longer a spiritual art, it's just genetics. It's been reduced to X-Men mutant powers. We see this again in the new movie. Alright, I'm done pretending I haven't seen it. If you haven't watched it yet, just skip to this timestamp to avoid spoilers. In the movie, Taga grants airbending to the Denied, who all instantly fight on par with elemental masters from the original series, Toph, Katara, and Zuko. They never studied airbending philosophy or martial arts. They don't understand what it means to embrace freedom and movement. All of their strength comes from spiritual energy channeled by the staff, which is literally just magic electricity. There's no actual spirituality beneath it. It's abundantly clear that you don't need to be wise or well-practiced to be a better bender anymore. It all comes from externally granted magic or your genetics, instead of learning and personal growth. Lastly, changing the avatar to the spirit of light instead of the earth ruined the concept of spirits themselves and the avatar's role as the bridge between the two worlds. It made sense that the avatar would serve as the bridge because the spirits were inspired by Pan-Asian mythology. Take the panda spirit Heibai. It acts just like a kami from Shinto belief, a nature god, an otherworldly being tied to the natural setting of its living space. Tui and La, the moon and ocean spirits, were tied to the koi fish that live in the spirit oasis. Even the animals who originated bending, air bison, badger moles, dragons, they are all living extensions of nature. Spirits were clearly meant to be bound to nature just like these animals. And if the avatar is the earth, then the avatar is nature itself. This is why Aang could fuse with the ocean spirit. La, as the ocean, is a portion of the world, an extension of the avatar. The spirits, seemingly benevolent ones like Wan Shitong, and creepy-crawly ones like Ko the Face Stealer, they are all part of the world, and as such, part of the avatar's jurisdiction. It was such a cool dynamic, and these spirits, like wild animals from an unknown land, were unknowable and incomprehensible to humans. Just like with wild animals in real life, you could make peace with them, but never truly tame them. It flowed with the philosophy of the Tao, that the universe ebbs and flows to a natural point of balance. The spirits weren't good or evil, just all small parts of the grand order of the cosmos. Only the Avatar, as a part of that grand order, could commune with them. But that all changed when Bright attacked. Now, the spirits exist in a real, tangible moral framework. The existence of Rava and Vartu means that objective good and evil also exist in this world, and are a standard by which all spirits are bound. Ko is no longer an unknowable monster, he's just an objectively evil little freakazoid. The Avatar is not the representative of all spirits as he is to all nations. Instead, there are just some spirits that are ontologically evil, which creates a whole host of world-building problems. If Vatu is evil and should be destroyed or at least sealed away, why shouldn't the Avatar seek out and destroy all of the other bad spirits? And if the Avatar only has dominion over spirits because he is half Rava, why do we never hear Rava guiding the Avatar as past lives do? Besides the fact that this was clearly an unplanned retcon, it paints the spirit of light and peace with a very dark brush. Why does she never offer aid or explain things from a spirit's perspective? If the Avatar isn't inherently the spirit of the earth, but a fusion between human and spirit, why does the human side always pilot? Doesn't this mean all instances of conflict between humans and spirits will ultimately have an impartial judge who implicitly favors humanity? Why would Rava allow that? Of course, at the end of the day, all of this I've laid out here is based on an assumption that the spirit of the world origin wasn't dropped by the writers until after the conclusion of the original series. The quote from the top of the video from Mike DiMartino is from the 2010 Art of the Animated Series book, and it doesn't explicitly state when the idea was dropped. It could be assumed before Book 1 went into production. But I would also like to point out that 2010 was when production of The Legend of Korra began. But regardless of what Mike or Brian may say, the original series never outwardly contradicts the concept, not until Book 2 of Korra. Not to mention, the Avatar is the incarnation of the spirit of the planet in human form, was listed on the official Nickelodeon website when the series was originally airing. Many of us hardcore fans grew up understanding this to be the case. And I mean, come on. They kept the word Avatar as the title of the protagonist and name of the series. Why would they do that if they drop its meaning? For all of these reasons, I feel that the Avatar characters and franchise has lost its identity. It's degraded over time, like the ridges on a stone being worn away and smoothed down by the ever-pressing tide. We only need to look at the released concept art for the new series, Seven Havens, following the next Avatar in the cycle, to see how much of the soul of the original is gone. The Asian cultural influences have been sanded down, leaving the characters to wear generic Voltron-esque jumpsuits, in a world now far more sci-fi than fantasy. And the leaking of the recent Aang movie, I feel, is poetically emblematic of the state of the series as a whole. That film was breathtakingly beautiful in so many ways, with gorgeous art and music. But the characters, world, and lore were all dreadfully hollow compared to what they once were. The Avatar franchise is still beautiful, but increasingly shallow with each new entry. However, the countless artists and musicians who worked on that film, and both series that preceded it, clearly expressed an endless love for their mediums and the wonder of creating art. And while the modern franchise may be a husk of its former self, no retcons or leaks or garbage Netflix adaptations can ever diminish my love for the original series and the hands that crafted it. And it shouldn't diminish yours either. Remember, Jesus loves you. Bye-bye.